It's great that we can make trees, but usually we want to do something with them. Let's create a new function that adds up all the numbers in a tree. So we'll call it SumElements, consumes a binary tree of numbers, and produces a single number. Consumes a binary tree of numbers and adds them all up, producing a number. We define our header, SumElements, of a binary tree, and it does something. Let's write some quick check expecs. If we sum the elements of an empty tree, aka false, we get 0 elements. If we sum the elements of a very simplistic single element tree, just the value 100, then we end up with a value of 100. And then finally, our actual number tree, some elements of our real tree, is much more complicated. I have to actually go up and count them, or rather down here. 15 plus 7 plus 16 plus 32 plus 27 plus 45 is 142. I didn't just know that, I looked it up beforehand. And now we need to go fill out our template. We go up here and grab our template for functions that consume a binary tree. Scroll back down, inject it. Great. And we can start filling in some things. So we know the name of the function is no longer btfun, but now SumElements. We have a binary tree, so that replaces all the usage from our template of bt. Great. Now the base case of the binary tree is pretty straightforward. We said if someone handed us a false empty binary tree, the sum was 0. The recursive case is a little bit more interesting. We need to get the value from this node and combine it with the sum of the left nodes and the right nodes. And the way we combine numbers is by adding them together. So we'll just add them together, fix the formatting, and we can give it a go. See if we pass our check specs. Oh, we messed up our parentheses. There we go. We added the plus sign. We needed a new parenthesis. And we passed our test. Great. This was fairly simplistic. Let's try writing something slightly more complicated. This time we'll write a function that adds numbers together, but only if they are even. And because we're building so much code off the original, we're going to start by copying the whole function wholesale. This time we'll call it SumElements. Go replace that name everywhere. Adds all the even numbers up, producing a number. The base case is still the same. The only thing that has to change is whether or not we add a given element. If the number is even, then we will add its value. Actually, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. ABT. Otherwise, we will not. And we'll have to update our check expecs. Let's add a new check expect to handle the conditional inside. It's either even or odd, so we'll see what happens if it's odd. Then we add 0. If it's even, then we add the number. And this time, we're only adding the even numbers, so the answer is 48. All right, so we had to do a few minor changes, but really the same core idea. We had an if statement to check to see if it was even or odd or not, in which case we do optionally do or do not do something to it, but we still have our 2 recursive cases. Run our check specs again, make sure everything checks out. Ooh. Made a mistake over here because we said if it's even, then we will do the value, otherwise we will not. Oh, of course, you have to change it everywhere, including the check specs. We are adding up the numbers as they originally were. All right, great, perfect. We passed all of our check specs. So this is just a slightly more complicated function that did a little bit more.